Hi guys, so it's Backlash this weekend, so that means it's time to get our nerd caps on and theorise about what can potentially happen here, what we think is going to happen, what results we're going to see, what potential surprises we're going to get. So I'm just going to kind of like throw my two pennies worth into that and basically just tell you what results I think we're going to get here, what potential surprises we're going to get, my kind of like rationale as to why I think all of that. So yeah, we got like 5 matches on this card. The match card looks pretty solid. I think like every match we got on this card I'm kind of like quite invested in. There's some that I think I'm really intrigued to see what happens here. So yeah, we're gonna just start off and get the ball rolling by talking about Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker. Like I said, I think it's obviously this is a feud that's been quite a long time in coming, obviously due to the injuries that both obviously Seth and Braun Breaker have sustained, obviously behind the scenes. So I think it's really good that we're getting this. Because we kind of like finally got all the sort of beginning of this like a WrestleMania. Does it feel like a little rushed? Sure, it does feel a bit rushed, but also I don't think that this is kind of like the end of it. I think that this is one feud that is kind of going to continue beyond Backlash. I think that it's going to be a really solid match. There's not a doubt in my mind that these two guys are just going to, absolutely put on an absolute banger match that is going to be the first match of the night, I believe. I think it has been confirmed that this is going to be the match that kicks it off. So I think that this is going to be the match that really, and I think that, Seth Rollins and Braun Breaker, I think it's going to, absolutely manage to do, pump the audience up for this. I am expecting Seth Rollins to win here. Like I said, I think that there's going to be a lot of to-win and throw-in in this feud. Like I said, I'm expecting it to go beyond Backlash. So I know that they can run this back. Maybe get a clash in Italy. Maybe like carry this through to like SummerSlam, where obviously Breaker is going to win. It is tricky to kind of like pinpoint how exactly the win's going to, if there's going to be any distractions or interferences, because again, like obviously Seth Rollins has just returned. Obviously we've got Braun Breaker who's just returned as well. Obviously Braun Breaker is a guy who's got a really bright future ahead of him in the company. So I feel like you could make a strong case for that. That maybe either losing would be kind of like detrimental here. So, I don't know. I don't know. Do we get? I think we are probably more likely going to get interferences in this match. We probably are going to get the Vision kind of like turning up. I think we are going to get Street Profits. And maybe Joe Hendry turning up to kind of like make the save as well, because I think that this is another thing. The seeds have been kind of like planted with to kind of like even out these numbers. They've basically been kind of like running with this storyline that Seth Rollins has no friends and all of that. So I do see in the long term that there's going to be a kind of like a temporary alliance. I do, and we probably are going to get like a 6-person tag, maybe even an 8-person tag, how soon we get that, I don't know. Obviously, I think that we could easily go straight into like a 6-man tag with maybe the Street Profits and Joe Hendry or Rollins and the Street Profits or whoever, against the Vision. And then, they could even like come back around, obviously wait for Bronson Reed to return from his injury, and then maybe do an 8 tag. There's quite a few matches and feuds that they could kind of like springboard from this match. But so yeah. Not an easy one to call, but I am going for Seth Rollins to pick up the win here. So next up we have Trick Williams against Sami Zayn. And yeah, I'm just gonna do a chase. I don't see Trick Williams losing here. I am going for Trick Williams to retain. I don't think that. I think it's too soon to. I think that we can get a lot more mileage out of this Trick Williams title run, and I think that they should absolutely optimize that. I think Sami Zayn losing also kind of like can add another domino to Sami Zayn's kind of like heel turn character as well. I think it can also like buy into that as well. So yeah, this one I feel like is probably the easiest one to call, at least in my mind. I'm going for I'm going for Trick Williams to retain here, and I'm pretty confident about that. So next we're gonna have like Io Sky and Oscar again. I think that this is going to be a fantastic match. I think that obviously like Io Sky is my personal favorite. She's like to be top. I think Oscar has done some fantastic work as well. I think Oscar. She could be like one of the most, I would say, is one of the most underrated workers in the WWE. The minute I think that has always just been absolutely fantastic. I the way that this feud has come about, like there is a Kairi Sane kind of hole here. People have been entertaining, and maybe Kairi Sane returns here and sort of just to maybe just tie up that kind of like loose end of that story, and she kind of like turns on Oscar. I would absolutely love to see that. If I can be just kind of like totally fantasy book this and tell you what I personally want to see, that is what I want to see. I'm not putting any stock in it though. I do feel like I don't feel like I can do that to myself. I feel like I would be just sort of building myself up for disappointment there. So I'm just kind of like anticipating, the great in ring work that these two can do together. I think they have like fantastic chemistry together. So I have no doubt that this is going to be an absolute banger of a match. And I am going for Io Sky to win. And yeah, so like I said, I can't. If I can put a fantasy book in what I want to see, I would be saying that Io wins by Kairi Sane returning and costing Oscar. But I don't see it. So yeah, I do have to. I can think of who else maybe gets involved here. So yeah, I am going for that. Io Sky wins, and Io Sky wins clean as well. So next up we have Danhausen and Mystery Partner against The Miz and Kit Wilson. I think it's going to be a really fun match. Starting off with who I think that The Miz mystery opponent is. I am going for Jelly Roll. I know that kind of flies a little bit in the face of the little perhaps tease that Michael Cole did, where he basically said that Danhausen's partner is a big fan of money. That's sort of as per a lot of people's minds that the partners could be Shane McMahon. I'm not ruling that out. I think it absolutely could be Shane McMahon. But yeah, I also have to kind of like think that maybe this little tease that Michael Cole has done could be a work as well. So yeah, that's kind of like what I'm going with. Obviously, Jelly before Danhausen and the Miz's feud, obviously the Jelly Roll had obviously his little mini feud with Kit Wilson, so it fits in that sense as well. So yeah, and then it said, so yeah, I think that the connective tissue is just there, whereas I think Shane McMahon teaming up with Danhausen would just come out of nowhere. Obviously, at least to my knowledge, Shane McMahon hasn't been in WWE for quite a long time, so it's like I don't know like why he would team up with Danhausen or why he would have a reason to go up against Miz, and so I think that with Jelly Roll there's a lot more connective tissue there. So that's why I'm going to say that Jelly Roll is going to be a mystery partner, and I think that Danhausen as a mystery partner picks up the win here. And then we basically get into to obviously come to Jacob for 2 against Roman Reigns, which I'm pretty confident will be the main event. I don't know if it's been confirmed yet, but I feel like it has to be the main event. And boy, is this is this a match that I have like all of the thoughts about, because on paper this should be one of the easiest ones to call, right? Because my mind is so much of there's no way that Roman Reigns is losing. There's no way they're taking the title off Roman Reigns this quickly. And with that in mind, when this feud started, I felt it was a little bit maybe problematic with the angle that they were going with Jacob for 2's character, where he's like, I'm having this match for my family and all of this, and it's something that's, I kind of like want all the accolades because I want, build a better future for my kids. I want them to have a better education and all of this stuff. Obviously very universal, very relatable stuff. So I thought that could be like really good to get the crowd on Jacob for 2's side, although judging by the audiences on Raw and SmackDown, that it doesn't seem to be the case. It seems to be like they've very much made Roman the babyface in this feud and Jacob the heel, which I find a little bit odd. And not that I think that Jacob for 2 has come over obviously a overly babyface, but I think that Roman and Jacob for 2 are quite interesting in the way that they're both quite outliers in the way where it feels like they can weave in and out, and they can be, babyface-ish or heelish depending on just what's required of them. So yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of talk about obviously the cuts that TKO will be making, and is Roman involved in this, and is Roman going to be appearing during June, and if he doesn't, then they could absolutely if there's this rumor going about that that Roman hasn't been billed to make any appearances in June, and all of this. So this is kind of like where people have started to kind of like entertain. Could they actually have Roman lose? We've got a lot of moving pieces in this feud where we've got the Usos involved here. A lot of people are expecting the Usos to actually turn on Roman Reigns in this match. I don't think it's off the table, but I don't see it happening. I don't think, at least certainly not this soon anyway. Maybe quite a bit further down the line, maybe more like SummerSlam time, maybe, if they decide to drag this storyline out that long. But I don't see it happening. I understand why people are entertaining it, because I think for some people, I think that this little bloodline reunion with Roman and the Usos has felt a little bit unearned. They felt that maybe the Usos don't really have too much of a reason to just like forgive Roman Reigns and take him back quite so easily. So that's kind of put a idea in their heads. Maybe they kind of go, maybe that's the plan there. Maybe they are going to. But honestly, just based on what we've been seeing in this feud, there's been no real indication that the Usos are going to do that. So it would come a little bit left field. I know in some ways like that's kind of like what you want from a turn, but we all know that obviously there've been plenty of turns which WWE have choreographed and planted the seeds long before. We've been talking before obviously about a potential like Kyrie Sane turn and an Oscar and stuff, which like I said, I don't think was going to transpire now. But obviously the seeds were very much there, and there's been countless other situations where there hasn't been any of that with the Usos and Roman Reigns, at least during the short space that this feud has been going on. But yeah, but they're not the only ones inserted into this. We've got Solo Sikoa and Tamatonga as well, kind of like lurking around here. They're feuding with Jacob Fatu and the Usos as well. So I am expecting shenanigans galore. Some people have been entertaining maybe Zilla for 2 returns here, and in case that just adds another person into his feud, as if it hadn't become like, at least for my money, convoluted enough. So I am expecting shenanigans galore. Honestly, I do not know what to expect from this. Beyond that. And even on the shenanigans side, I'm kind of hoping they don't. After we saw the match of Roman Reigns and CM Punk put on, I think that was just one of the greatest main events of the year. I think that it's, and I think a part of it was the fact that we didn't get any interventions. Do you know what I mean? So I would like it if they just kind of like continued, and I hope that we do get a clean finish here. But just because of the amount of moving pieces there are and how convoluted this feud seems to be, I just can't see it. So I honestly don't know. I honestly go back and forth now. Like I said, I'm at a bit of a loss as to not just what to expect from this match, but what to expect from this feud altogether, like I said, because there's been so many moving pieces. I don't know, obviously, with if it was just the Usos being inserted into this as well, I could see somewhere where they could sort of make it work, but with Solo Sikoa and Tamatonga being wind in there as well, I'm not quite sure how it all comes together. I'm not quite sure how it all gels together. So, I'm intrigued by it, but I am ultimately absolutely baffled by it as well. So, yeah, I honestly don't know, but I am gonna go that I think Roman Reigns does retain here. I am going to say that. Yeah, I think we are going to get distractions galore. We probably are going to get a lot of interferences from the Usos. Probably I'm expecting Solo Sikoa and Tamatonga to come out. But Solo Sikoa and Tamatonga probably going to be feuding on the outside with Usos, causing some sort of distraction, allowing for Roman to pick up a win. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe even Roman Reigns picks up a win in slightly heelish way. I think that there could be a play here to maybe try and get more sympathy for Jacob Fatu and get him a bit more on the babyface level, which is another thing where about the Usos getting involved, because Roman is a baby. I don't think his character is meant to be a babyface. I don't think he's being pitched as a babyface now. But I think that a lot of the audience are trying to turn him into a babyface. So if the Usos turn on him, does that then the Usos become heels? I can't really see that. I don't really feel like I feel like it'd be a bit of a betrayal of a character for Jacob Fatu to align himself with anybody, because he has obviously his part of his character is defined by that lone wolf kind of thing. But yeah, like I said, I am expecting shenanigans galore. I think it was going to be a lot of distractions and confusion. And yeah, obviously I got to pick a winner, so I'm going to go about Roman Reigns retains here. And that's not easy to say. So yeah, that pretty much wraps it up, guys. So yeah, thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more, don't forget to ring a bell for notifications. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please feel free to let me know down in the comment section about what your thoughts are, what your own little fan predictions are, what you're expecting out of this Backlash, all of our fun geeky stuff. Please let me know down in the comment section. And as always, I will see you guys on the next video. You guys take care.